Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Pascal Ibgui calls Chock Chapple stalker. Pascal Ibgui joined the Golden Bachelorette at the encouragement of his daughter. However, he realized before the fantasy suite date that he wasn't in love with Joan. He opened up about his regret for hurting her. Pascal did not hold back when asked for his thoughts on Chock Chapple. Why did label Chock a stalker? Keep reading to find out what he said. Pascal Ibgui claims producers made him dump Joan harshly. Pascal Ibgui upset Bachelor Nation fans with the blunt way he told Joan Vassos that he didn't reciprocate her feelings for him. He told her straight out that he wasn't in love with her. During his exit interview with Glamour magazine, the salon owner made a shocking claim about the show's producers. According to Pascal, he tried to let Joan down easy, but was encouraged by producers to specifically say he wasn't in love with her. The producer explained, "I should be clearer that I wasn't in love with her, but I was hesitant to use that word," he told the outlet. The Golden Bachelorette star added, "That's why I told the camera to get away from me. I was very angry. I know the words not in love is very hurtful. I would rather try to be very diplomatic." Viewers saw him angrily try to push the cameras away. Pascal reunites with Joan next week on the Men Tell All special. He said that he was happy he got to see her again. "I was very happy to see Joan, and I was able to put closure into where we started by telling her that I didn't mean to hurt her, and I'm sorry if it come across that way." Golden Bachelorette alum calls Chock Chapple stalker. At this point in the season, Chock Chapple is the clear frontrunner for Joan's final rose. Pascal was asked about his impression of Chock, especially during the bowling date. Viewers felt Chock's behavior was problematic when he was constantly hovering over Joan. Pascal agrees. He said, "Chock was all over her to the point where he was like a stalker. I mean, it was like, 'I love you. Let's leave. Let's do this. Let's do that. And which side of the bed are you sleeping on?' It's bizarre behavior." He went on to call Chock's behavior inappropriate and that everyone else on the date felt uncomfortable. Pascal Ibgui's experience on the Golden Bachelorette has been nothing short of dramatic, but even he might not have anticipated calling fellow contestant Chock Chapple a stalker. This episode opened with an unexpected level of tension between these two men, and Pascal, normally one of the calmer personalities in the house, was clearly rattled. It started innocuously enough. Pascal and Chock were both vying for Joan Vassos' attention, each convinced he was the one for her. Pascal, a dapper Parisian who's refined yet playful, has been unabashed in showing his affection for Joan, pulling out all the stops with romantic gestures. Whether it's slipping her handwritten notes or bringing her a special perfume that he claims only French women wear, Pascal's flair is his charm. On the other side, Chock is brimming with quiet intensity, his adoration expressed not through grand gestures, but in a steady, devoted presence. This man seems undeterred by any of Pascal's attempts to impress Joan, responding to Pascal's grandiose moves with an unaffected smile and a nod of acknowledgement. But lately, Pascal has begun to feel that Chock is more than just calm and composed. He's there every time Pascal turns around. The issue came to a head after a group date when Joan invited both men to join her for an intimate evening gathering by the fire pit. Pascal was over the moon at this opportunity, planning to charm Joan with stories from his life in Paris and the intricacies of his salon empire. However, he quickly noticed that every time he leaned in to say something to Joan, Chock was right there. It was as if Chock could anticipate his every move. When Joan excused herself for a moment, Pascal seized the chance to have a word with Chock. "You know, mon ami," he started, trying to keep his tone light. "You always seem to be right by my side. It's almost like you're following me." Chock gave a low chuckle, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Pascal, buddy, I'm just here for Joan. Maybe you're the one following me." Pascal laughed it off at first, but his expression betrayed his unease. As Joan returned, Pascal couldn't help but feel that something wasn't quite right. Later that evening, while getting ready to retire to his room, Pascal caught sight of Chock again. Chock's door was left slightly ajar, and through the crack, Pascal saw that the man was meticulously arranging what looked like a small shrine of memorabilia. In the dim light, Pascal could make out a candle, a heart-shaped picture frame, with Joan's picture inside. That sight lingered in his mind, creeping into his thoughts and making him question Chock's intentions. Was he really just a dedicated suitor, or was there something darker lurking beneath the surface? The next morning, Pascal couldn't resist sharing his suspicions with some of the other contestants. "Have you noticed that Chock? Well, he's around a lot, isn't he? And always watching me when I'm with Joan. It's starting to feel stalker-like," he confessed. His words quickly rippled through the mansion, and within hours, the rest of the men were whispering and glancing at Chock, who seemed blissfully unaware of the rumors swirling around him. Some contestants shrugged off Pascal's concern, chalking it up to paranoia and competitive jealousy, while others began eyeing Chock with skepticism. Chock, however, was no fool. He caught wind of the whispers soon enough, and that night, during a cocktail party, he cornered Pascal in the garden. "So I hear you've been talking about me," he said, his voice low and controlled, but carrying an edge. Pascal didn't back down. "Chock, you've got to admit, it's a bit strange, no? You're always there, always watching. And that room of yours." He trailed off, shaking his head. "What? Are you saying I'm obsessed?" Chock's lips curled into a slight smirk, but there was an intensity in his eyes that Pascal found unnerving. "Pascal, I'm simply dedicated. Maybe that's what you don't understand. Joan deserves someone who's all in." Pascal took a deep breath. "There's being all in, and then there's crossing a line. And it feels like you're crossing it." The tension between the two men finally boiled over, reaching Joan, who found herself reluctantly dragged into the conflict. Overwhelmed by the bickering, Joan called a private meeting with both men to clear the air. She encouraged them to express their concerns, hoping that an honest conversation would resolve their differences. Pascal took the opportunity to lay it all out. "Joan, Chock is everywhere I turn. I can't have a moment alone with you because he's always right there. I even caught him with let's just say a very personal collection of items with your face on them," he explained, watching her reaction carefully. Chock took a deep breath before responding. "Joan, Pascal has taken my dedication as a threat, which is absurd. Yes, I care for you deeply. And maybe I do have a few photos. Nothing inappropriate, just reminders of why I'm here. I'm here for you, not to sabotage him." Joan was torn, her brow furrowed as she listened. She appreciated Pascal's flair and openness, but was drawn to Chock's quiet loyalty. But now, with these new details coming to light, Joan had to confront a side of the journey she hadn't anticipated. As Pascal and Chock waited with bated breath, Joan turned to Chock. "I appreciate the dedication," she began, "but I do want to make sure this stays light and respectful. It's true, I don't want to feel any pressure beyond what we all signed up for here." Then, turning to Pascal, she added, "And Pascal, maybe some of this competition has gotten to you too." Chock seemed to deflate slightly, a rare moment of vulnerability crossing his face. "I hear you," he said softly. "And Pascal, I never meant to make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe I went overboard. But Joan, I really am here for you. That's all that matters." In the days that followed, an uneasy truce settled between the two men. The rivalry was still there, though perhaps subdued, and each kept a respectful distance. However, Pascal couldn't entirely shake his reservations. Chock's admission had softened Joan's concerns, but for Pascal, there was still a lingering sense of unease. The tension remained palpable, even as the show moved forward and new dates brought fresh challenges. For Pascal, one thing was clear. Whatever the future held, he wasn't letting his guard down around Chock. Whether his suspicions were justified or not, the encounter had shown him that the battle for Joan's heart wasn't just about grand gestures or quiet dedication. It was about being true to himself, even in the face of an intense rival. As for Joan, she appreciated both men's efforts but kept a cautious eye on Chock, unable to fully dismiss Pascal's warnings.